Jenny from Team Super Awesome Art, and today I am super excited to share with you guys this custom set of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Funko Pops. I'm going to go ahead and roll some footage of us actually working on this set, and then at the end of the video, stick around because we will talk about everything that went into these guys, from altering to sculpting to painting and anything else that we did. So please stick around till the end. So I just finished putting on the base color for the turtles, and I'm going to show them to you really quickly before I continue. Here's Leonardo, and he has all his base colors on. I still have to do the shells in the front of the turtles, but so far this is them with the base color on. Okay, next one is Donatello. There he is. Same thing with him. I still have to do the shell, the front of the shell, and then Michelangelo is right here, and there he is. Same thing with him, just the front of the shell, and he's pretty much ready to go. But yeah, so far I'm really happy with how these are coming out. They kind of look, they're coming alive, I guess you'd say, with just the base color, so super excited. This guy, let's see, Raphael, of course he needs the front like all the others, and then the back of his shell I have to darken a little bit more so it stands out over his clothes, but so far so good. I'm really liking the way the masks on all of them are coming out, especially the back. They look really, really cool, so I'm excited for those. Like I said, for the most part, I have all the base coat on all of them. I started working on Leonardo's color, so his shadowing, so you can kind of see it there. Like Raphael still is all solid green, and Leonardo has a little bit more of the shadowing going on. So I started that one. I'm super excited so far how they look. Can't wait to do the eyes. I think I'm going to go with the color eyes. I still haven't decided, but yeah, so not the black pop eyes. So far, love how this set's coming out. These heads are super cool. I'm super excited to see these guys done. Really neat, like them so far. There they are. I hope you guys enjoy this. Stay tuned, I'm going to keep painting. At the end of this video, I will show them all to you so you guys can see a finished product. Thanks so much guys for watching so far. Update on how these are going. Last night I was working on them and my camera died, so I did a couple things not on camera. One of them was the eyes. I did Raphael and Michelangelo's eyes. I highlighted those, so I'm going to do the other ones on camera for you guys. Also, the other thing I have to finish is really finish Donatello. He was the picture that these are made from, it's not in color. So I had to kind of decide what got color and what didn't get color. These three were kind of a little easier. This one was really trickier to decide what gets purple, because on these, their belts are showing. So obviously they get their color belts. I have to do his belt too. His belt will be in orange. But so for Donatello, his belt is covered by that rope, and I kind of wanted that rope to be in the tan color, so it was hard to decide what got purple. So I decided to do the bottom half of his uniform in purple, which I'm happy so far how it's coming out. I still have to highlight it and low light it a little bit more so I get more detail out of it. But yeah, so far I'm super excited with how these are coming out. Another thing I wasn't able to do on camera last night was Michelangelo has like this really cool piping on his uniform in black. So I started doing that. I'll do the other part on camera for you guys, with the side, on camera for you guys in there, so you guys can see that. But yeah, so far super excited for these. I still have to do some work on their weapons, highlight a couple things, clean them up a little bit, and then seal them and they're done. So I'm super excited. I can't wait to show you guys finished product on these. These are by far my favorite. I really want a Donatello for myself. He was my favorite turtle as a kid, so I don't know. Really love this one. But yeah, so far, love these guys. Yeah, stick around. We'll see how it goes. product, and this set was actually a commission set. So we were contacted and approached to make the Ninja Turtles in this style. So this wasn't our idea. We were actually sent this picture of the turtles, and then we were asked to recreate it in Funko Pop form. What we really wanted to do with this set is really capture that image in these pops. The first thing we did was we took off their heads, and then I went ahead and sculpted each face onto these guys. So my biggest concern was getting the expression in the picture onto the pop. So what I did was I really tried to capture each one and give them their own individual look. To do that, I used the picture as much as possible for reference, and then I tried to just really capture that feel. What I did with each of these was I sculpted on the face and the bandana, and then I left the back for last. So I just did the top half, and then the hanging part in the back was done separately. Also, what's really cool about these is they do have a lot of character. Like Leonardo here, he has a scar above his left eye there. So for Michelangelo, he has more of a classic Ninja Turtle headband. Raphael, also really cool, he is actually missing an eye, so I just sculpted the one eye and then I kept this side closed. And then on to Donatello, same thing with him, he is missing the opposite eye, so we brought his bandana over his eye just like in the picture. What we did to these also was, like I said, we sculpted on the face and the bandana, and then I left the hanging part of their bandanas for last, so I didn't sculpt that on. Those were actually made with fabric. I took some cloth and I hardened it, and then I glued it on to the back there, and so it hangs, and it does have some movement, which is awesome. It kind of goes back to its original pose, but you can actually move the bandana, so you don't have to worry about that breaking off or anything, which is an awesome little feature, especially when you're working on them. Having something hanging like that is super scary because things like that could break if it's made out of the wrong material. So same thing with these guys, they all move. And last but not least, here is Donatello, and his moves as well. Biggest thing with the bandanas, of course, was getting that really wrinkly feel to them, that they look a lot like fabric. And then of course their facial expressions, like I said, was really important to really capture that feel in the picture. Alright, on to the bodies. The bodies were a lot of work. Again, our biggest concern was capturing the feel that they have in the picture onto these pops. So what we did was we moved the arms around in order to give them that look that they have in the picture. Hutch went ahead and cut off all their arms except for Donatello over here. With Michelangelo, we cut off the left arm completely, and then I sculpted his whole hand, just brand new, just a free sculpt on his hand. And then to the right arm, I believe we moved it and placed it in that position and then added the weapon. With Leonardo over here, we actually turned the hands around so that the swords are now facing backwards, and these are the original swords that the pop came with. And then Raphael, we kept the hands where they were. I cut them off and then resculpted from the wrist down, and then I cut off his size, and then I sculpted his hands completely new, and then I placed the size that came with the pop in his hand. So from the wrist down, his hands are a brand new sculpt, and then the weapons were placed in there so that it gives it that awesome stance. Lastly, Donatello here, he was the one, actually the easiest, because we just left his hands how they were, and we actually just left the same bow staff that the pop came with. The reason being is because in the picture he kind of has that pose, so we just kept this one the way it was. Once the pops were repositioned, the only turtle that got brand new custom weapons was Michelangelo, only because the weapons that he brought, we really couldn't reuse them. So what we did was we sculpted little nunchucks out of plastic material, round plastic tubes, and then I used a little chain to connect the two sticks together. So that's really the only one out of this whole set that we didn't reuse the weapons that came with the Pops. The next thing we had to do was recreate the uniforms that they're wearing in the picture, and that was tricky for two reasons. Number one, they're all wearing different styles of, I guess, different uniforms from different styles of martial arts, and number two, the figures in the picture are very lean, and then of course Funko Pop body, this Funko Pop body is very bulky with the turtle shell. So my biggest concern really was recreating that look onto these Pops. So I did do a lot of altering to the turtle and the turtle shell itself. I actually had to take down on the sides so that they seem narrower than they really originally were. So what I did was I took down on the sides and a little bit on the shell, and then I sculpted on their uniform. Their chests were all re-sculpted to give them more of a six-pack lean type look rather than the bulky shell that the Pop comes with. Same thing with Leonardo here. I did take down a little on the sides, and then of course his turtle shell, I took it down a little bit just so he doesn't have this big bulky fabric thing over his shell. Again with Raphael, I did the same thing. I took down the sides, and this one was a little bit harder. I had to sculpt in almost the entire shell in the front. And then Donatello as well, I actually took down the shell and then re-sculpted the back of the shell onto this Pop. Like I said, in the picture it looks like they all study different martial arts, so capturing the feel of each uniform was really important to me. Michelangelo here looks like he's wearing a type of Bruce Lee style uniform and stance, so that was really important for me to capture. They are both wearing kind of baggy uniforms and more of a tattered type uniform with pieces hanging off the sides or off his belt. And then Leonardo, he has an open uniform. He also has wristbands, and then he has like these pads on his elbows and top of his hands. And then on the top of his feet he has wraps, which also really cool. Little add to this to match his arm wraps. Wearing some sort of protection on his arm and the top of his feet. The difference between these two is that Leonardo's looks like a soft pad, and then Raphael here, he's wearing more of like a wood type pad on his hands and feet. Last one is Donatello, and he's wearing kind of a baggy, loose uniform. His again is tattered on one side, and then with the other side hanging off his arm there. And then he also has one elbow pad on his right side. Like I said, our main goal with these was to really capture the picture. Now the picture is not in color, so that left a lot of room to be really creative with these. I had to go ahead and decide what color scheme each turtle was going to be. In the picture, it doesn't have a lot of color, and they are all wearing different styles of uniform. So at first I thought maybe all of them should be wearing different color uniforms, but I really wanted their individual colors to really stand out. So what I did was I went ahead and did a kind of a sandy color uniform on all of these. I used to take jiu-jitsu, and my jiu-jitsu instructor, he wore this like sandy color, really thick uniform, and that was kind of the inspiration for the color scheme on these Pops. And I thought it was really cool too because it kind of matches the color scheme on the original picture or the original scroll. So I thought that was perfect for these. That gave me a really neutral palette to work with, and then I can just add color to their skin and their bandana. So again with Leonardo, same thing. I did the sandy color uniform, and then I added his blue bands wherever they were peeking out. With Raphael here, same thing. I gave him the red bandana, the green skin, and then his belt and his pads, or his bands wherever they're peeking out. I colored them red. Donatello over here, he was kind of the trickiest to decide where the purple was going to go, but I went ahead and gave him his purple pants to match his bandana and his armbands. The reason being is because he's really not wearing a belt like these guys are, a thick belt, so I went ahead and made his pants the color for this Pop. Another thing I did with this set was I gave him really rich, deep colors rather than cartoony greens and oranges and reds and blues and purples, only because I wanted to capture that old scroll feel that they have in the original picture. So rather than making them really cartoony, so I went ahead and gave them deeper shadows. You can really see it in the shells and their skin. I really tried to highlight them so it really stands out. Same thing with their muscles. I gave them a lot of shadowing and highlights so you can really catch all the detail on the sculpt. Oh, another thing I did with these was I actually had to sculpt on their muscles wherever you saw them. So their arm muscles, their shoulders were all re-sculpted over the original Pop. The Pop doesn't really come like that, so we had to give them awesome muscles to match their awesome look. To make these, we used Super Sculpey and Super Sculpey Firm Clay to sculpt onto the Pops. Once they were cured, we went ahead and primed them. Then they were hand painted using acrylic paint, and then they were sealed to make sure that they are protected. Alright guys, I think that's everything for this video. I don't want to end it because I don't want to miss anything. If I did miss anything, if you guys have any questions on any of these, please comment below and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions for you. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and as always guys, subscribe to see more cool stuff from us in the future. Thank you so much for watching.